Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Today I wanted to chat with you guys about something I've been thinking about a lot of really kind of the direction I want to go when we talk about fitness on this channel of defining what fitness is in quantifiable terms. And I came up with something that I'm going to think of as basically the trifecta of fitness, or the three pillars of fitness, and that would be strength, leanness, and health. Right? And these are all things that we can measure quantifiably. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this, because these are really what this comes down to is ultimately they all kind of feed into each other, and that oftentimes we know plenty of people out there who maybe meet 2 out of those 3 who aren't truly fit in the sense that we would think of as truly fit. You know, their ability to perform and adapt in all different environments, or be the best competitive athlete in multiple endeavors, or even be able to compete in multiple things. You know, overall fitness and health. So I want to define these things. I mean, strength is easy to define, isn't it? A lot of people out there say silly shit, completely silly shit, like, well, there's 20 rep strength and there's 1 rep. No, there's not. There is not. There isn't. Yes, if you train a certain type of performance, you'll be slightly better. You'll slightly skew your ratios. But I can tell you right now that if you bench 300 and another guy benches 405, his 20 rep max on the bench press is going to be higher than your 20 rep max. All right. He's also going to rep you out on the combine test. You do the 225 combine test. I can assure you he's going to beat you. Okay. So again, this stuff only matters when people are very closely tied. There can be cases where one guy who has a 330 bench and another guy has a 305 bench, where the guy with the 25-pound lighter max can do more, has a slightly higher 20 rep max, right? His 20 rep max is 5 pounds heavier than the other guy may be. There will be extreme cases of that. Those are the exception, not the norm, right? They're the exception, not the norm. So just because you know someone, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about strength. What can you lift for a 1 rep max with decent form? And I think the strength and conditioning charts define that. Here's what I would say is your minimum strength to really say that you're fit. Be intermediate on that chart on at least 3 lifts. What you should be striving for is to be advanced on 3 lifts. If you are truly fit, there should be 3 lifts out of those 6 on there, because not everyone does all 6 of those lifts. Some people might do just 3 out of that 6, and someone else might do the other 3 out of that 6 without doing the others on there. So that's fine. We have charts. And they're interesting because you get a lot of guys who are like, I could never hit the advanced on that chart or whatever. Well, it's because you haven't gained enough muscle. That's your problem. You have not enough muscle for your height. Or you're carrying way too much body fat, which kind of falls back to the lean thing. So that can interfere. But some guys who are really strong can be 25 or 30% body fat and be elite on those charts. So they're still strong, but are they fit? And this is another reason I'm telling people, you know, that myself, I need to drop down to 15% or lower body fat. I'm probably going to go lower. 15 is the goal for this year. Because that's the next topic, isn't it? But strength. And strength is your most important performance metric. It really is, because endurance comes easy to humans. Any human can build endurance in a short period of time. Strength requires actual continuous work, and it has better carryover to everything that you do. There's been whole discussions on that. That's too much for me to cover in this topic. Strength is your true metric of performance. It really is. Not necessarily your athletic ability with certain sports, because that's a different thing. We're talking about just your well-rounded performance is always going to be strength-based. So you should be strong. And like I said, ideally you should be striving to be advanced on at least 3 of those 6 lifts that we have strength and conditioning standard charts for. It doesn't necessarily need to be all 6, 3 of them. And I'll say anyone who can hit advanced on 3 of those lifts or their body weight is strong. And like I said, you maybe haven't gained any muscle mass. Maybe you need to put on another 15 pounds of muscle if you're looking at that chart going, man, I could never reach that. Well, yeah, when you're 6'1" and you're 155 pounds, that's the reason. So the strength standard also requires you to have gained an appreciable amount of muscle on top of it, an appreciable amount. It doesn't have to be beautifully, perfectly symmetrical. But I will tell you, though, that anyone who actually does hit advanced on 5 or 6 of those lifts, though, who is lean is probably going to look pretty good, aren't they? So we come to the leanness. This is the one that's been a problem for me historically, and I admit that, I own that, and I'm working to fix that problem. You know, that's the thing. If you say something that's maybe a cognitive dissonance or hypocrisy or whatever, hypocrisy is in my case. It says you're a hypocrite. Got that hippo power. You work on fixing it, right? It's something like leanness. Well, I don't want to lose my strength, so I'm not going to just rip down and lose 4 pounds every week. So it's going to be a gradual process. But what do I mean by leanness? Well, medically speaking, and your opinion is irrelevant. Your opinion's irrelevant. Most medical doctors and experts will look at someone and say their health for men is going to be between 10 and 20% body fat, right? And then some men can still be really, really healthy over 20%. All right, there are plenty of documented cases up to as high as 25%. And so some medical experts will disagree on that top end number, but it's going to be 10 to 20%. But that's just for health. What do we mean for fitness? I'm going to say 15%. Being under 15% or lower body fat for males, like 24, 25% or lower for females, that's lean. We would define that as lean. Medically, everything else. We're not talking about bodybuilder lean. People need to get this idea of bodybuilding out of your head because bodybuilders are not fit. Bodybuilding is anti-fitness. So we're talking about actual fitness. But to be under 15% for a man, I would say is part of the requirement to be truly fit, right? Not slightly fit, truly fit. And I think that's totally reasonable when you start looking at the data. Because again, we look at older men, much older men, their blood work, our blood work, in my case, I'm in my 40s. Our blood work and stuff does tend to look better if we get down to 15% or lower. We do have a little better longevity than if we're at 19 or 20. So, I think 15% is a good number to aim for. And it's quantifiable, it's measurable. All right, that should be our gold standard, 15% or lower for men. Unless, you can take it too low. We kind of come to the other point. Person can be really strong and interfere with their other ones, can't they? Well, the leanness can interfere too. Because if your body fat drops too low, your strength can suffer unless you're using drugs. Your strength can suffer. And your health can suffer. Again, just some of the data I linked yesterday on pre-contest bodybuilders. Your health is atrocious. You're not meant to be 6 or 7% body fat. For some men, the cutoff's going to be 10%. You drop under 10%, your health will suffer. For some men, they can get as low as 8%, right? As far as what we can see on a DEXA scan. But, finding that lower threshold, again, that's also part of fitness, isn't it? There's a range. It's quantifiable. So that's what I'm going to say. There's your gold standard right there. Reach at least advanced on the strength and conditioning charts for 3 out of the 6 lifts. Doesn't need to be all 6. But you're strong. If you can do 3 of those, you're strong, right? Because they all involve full body other than the press and the bench. Well, if you're just a strong presser, but then you can also hit advance on the squat or the deadlift or the power clean, that's still full body. You're good. Then we come to health. What I mean by health, your health markers. Your health markers. In other words, when you go to the doctor, do you have a low resting heart rate? Is your blood pressure in the healthy range? Is your fasting glucose in the healthy range? Is your lipid profile in the healthy range? That's what we're looking for. Your blood work. Your blood work. Is everything in the healthy range? And if you need medication to put it there, then you better be on the medication to put it there. That's reality. We do develop issues. But then you are now healthy if you have a medication that doesn't harm your health, that keeps you in the normal range on the stuff. We're back to health. So a medical treatment may be required, but healthy. And I don't care. You follow a diet that makes your HDL drop too low or your LDL too high, you are not healthy. Right? You fail the blood work challenge. And a lot of people with their fad diets will find themselves messing up these numbers because their diet isn't a particularly healthy diet. So I'm not even saying you have to follow one specific diet, but your diet better make that blood work look good. Resting heart rate, blood pressure, fasting glucose, lipid profile. Hell, let's go, how about liver enzymes? There you go, your liver enzymes. Your prostate, all that stuff should probably look pretty good. Right, PSA, that's what they would look at in your blood work for prostate. We want to see healthy numbers, everything in the healthy range. And that's, I think, the trifecta of fitness. Are you strong? Are you reasonably lean, athletically lean? And does your blood work look good? All right, there's your three pillars. All right, there's your three pillars of fitness, and your fitness is built off of that foundation. Right, that's what would define fitness, and I think that's the standard that we should be using personally to define if we are fit or not. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.